today we're going to be talking about the idea of, this dimension where we are at and these other dimensions out there in the invisible world, where we cannot reach with our bodies, where we cannot see things with our two eyes, So, yeah, we're talking about, something that relates to our day-to-day life, So, yeah, people, view things from a different perspective, because what gives the perspective or the perception is the information that is, bombarded into somebody's mind or people's mind. So the way we perceive things is due or according to or is based on the information that is bombarded into our mindset, from the moment we come into this world. Socialization comes into space. Our mind are trained through formal education, also through mass media. There is a lot of information dissemination, projected from those spaces. So all those, they shape your mindset, they shape your perceptions towards yourself, towards other people, towards life, even the ideas and the belief system are shaped by the information that you are getting, and also things that you are exposed to, because there is also that thing of observational learning, which sometimes it becomes, especially with kids, it becomes more powerful than formal, instruction or formal learning in a formal class, you see. So today we're talking about the interactive mechanism, of these spirits called demons, So we're talking about how demons recruit human beings into demonic realms. I wonder if you get the picture. How demons recruit humans into demonic realms. Actually, is it possible? Like when you check at it, Queen, do you think this is a possible thing? Like demons, I imagine recruited demons say, "Yo, come." Just like you see some churches, when you're passing by the street, you see there this usher, they are standing there. They are always calling, come inside. Yeah. This is a church of God. Come and get blessings. You'll get a job. You'll get marriages. Etc. You have people that they are inviting, they are recruiting. Others will be going door to door. Talking about their churches, just like political parties, they also have a recruitment strategy. They go door to door.
What is it called? Evangelizing. Yeah.
Yeah, in Christianity it's evangelism. So they go around evangelizing, but the point is to get to their specific church, not just any church, because Christianity is broad. There are many forms of Christianity. There are many churches within each form. But, the ones that will be knocking on your door day to day, they are recruiting you to their own church. So it's a recruitment strategy, just like politics. You see political parties, they are called cadres. I've heard that term used. They use cadre. They send cadres, to the communities, to just recruit, members into the political party. They'll go around persuading members to say, no, you have to join this Zawadi party. It's a very powerful party. If you join Zawadi party, you are guaranteed a job. You'll get this. This is a manner of recruitment, So, yeah. Similarly, also, education institutions, they have that kind of marketing, to make sure that they have more students, learners coming into the registering with the institution, or applying for registration into the institution. So today we're talking about demons recruiting human beings into their demonic realms. Well, I was just asking, what comes into your mind? Is there a possibility of any such?
There is a possibility. I mean, now there's a term for it. There are people called skinwalkers. So it's these witches that are able to transform and change themselves into animals. More or less, let's just say they possess. Let's say you have a dog at home. That witch possesses the dog. And then your dog will be performing for you, doing things that are very unusual. You'll find a dog sitting in a way that a human being will sit. So, that's what they do. And I heard they can also possess humans. So they can come to you in human form and even imitate the voice of a loved one. So let's say you stay with your partner, your boyfriend or your girlfriend, or your wife or husband. the skinwalker will come and say, "Hi, babe," in the voice of your partner, and you'll think that it's your partner, and you will open the door, and then it looks like your partner, but nah.
You'll be, yo, baby, come, can I have a kiss?
And the person is just doing unusual movements, and you're like, nah, this is not a human being.
Yo, people, stuff is going on in this world. A lot is going on. This sounds like a movie, scary movie type of horror thing.
And unfortunately,
it's real. Yes, everything is everything, anything is anything, and one thing is one thing, So, yeah, we just here to talk about these things because, running away from things, give them power. Or to manifest themselves. Denial also give whatever you are denying, it gives it power, to manifest itself. So it's really good to acknowledge reality, then take a stance, based on that reality, so that your position within the space and times. So yeah. How demons, recruit humans into demonic realms. Maybe we have to talk about this idea of realms. Because some people might be, confused. Creation is based on the multiplicity of units of creation, and the structure of creation is based on that idea of different zones or spaces. We have this physical space wherein we are at, where we can experience it fully with our full bodies, the five sense dimension, But there are other worlds, in Nguni language we call it Umkat, which is the space, There is a lot going on Mkatini in space, there are many worlds, there are many frequencies, there are many dimensions, there are many realms, and in each and every realm of that invisible world, there are life forms that live there. So each and every realm have a character of its own, a nature of its own, personalities of its own, a sense of self-survival mechanism of its own, and all these realms, they keep interacting with us human beings one way or the other, because there is that thing of them having interest in us and maybe us having interest in them also. We don't know. We'll see this as we continue with our presentation for today, So, yeah. So, in the multiplicity of these realms, realms are like, imagine the space, as it is. Then we have all these network providers for cellular technology. Here we're talking of the MTNs, the Vodacom, the Cell Cs, the Telcom, and every one of them. They share the same space, like is in the space. But each one of them within this invisible space, have a frequency of its own, of which you only tune in when you are registered with them, when you are aligned to them, your number, you cannot have an MTN number and then you tune into Vodacom. It's an MTN SIM card, so this MTN is your service provider, So this is how it goes. Just like even the broadcasting corporation or the radios, the TVs, they all share the same space. But each one of them has their own specific frequency within the space, So they keep, vibrating in that format, but then they don't interfere with each other because every one of them is within its frequency, So if you want to tune in into Mzansi Joburg City FM, there is a specific frequency, You want to tune into Jozi FM, to Palapala, not Palapala Farm, please. No. You can't tune into Palapala Farm. We're not talking about man in the mattress here or some other cows. We're talking about the radio, Yeah, you can tune into Mungana Lonene, Kwezi FM, Kwezi FM, etc. Each one of them have a frequency, So you only tap into the radio station through the frequency modulation, you see. So similarly with spirit realms, each and every one of them has their own frequency through which they communicate with us human beings, through which we interact and they interact with us, through which there is an exchange, maybe exchange of energy or exchange of information, of exchange of some other things, you check. So, yeah, so we acknowledge that we are in constant interaction with the entities from spirit realms. Others in religious form, they've spoken of heaven, or heavens. They've spoken of angels from heaven that descend from the sky, they land on earth. If you have read the Bible, I think you'll get the picture. They speak of such angels, and also equally they speak of demons. Demons also coming from the demonic realm, but they call it hell. So the angels from, or the fallen angels, or the demons, that is the same thing, coming from hell. What is heaven? What is hell? Remember, the idea of heaven is not just limited to singularity. There is a plurality, because you hear other people talking of heavens. We simply mean each and every one of these heavens have a life form of its own. But the word heavens or heaven is equal to the word dimension or realm. You check. So this is how things are designed, to be alive and manifest. So we have these two types of spirit, because there are two types of energies in life. There is the positive energy, there is the negative energy. So there are two types of energies. So these energies manifest in terms of life forms. Just like you as a human being, within you, others have put it in a figurative or metaphorical sense to say within a human body there are two beasts. There's the good beast and the bad beast. It depends on which one you focus on, which one you give energy to manifest the more. So within you there is heaven, there is hell. That's the metaphor of it. Within you there is the power of goodness and the power of badness. Depending on you intently or maybe unintently, how you tap into, how you allow the specific one to manifest or dominate, then we will describe you or refer to you, or relate to you based on your dominant behavior, your consistent behavior, your popular behavior, which shows what beast you are unlocking or unleashing within you. You check. So remember, the human body is connected to creation in its entirety. We simply mean, although there is a way of connecting with other realms, the spirit realms also. Just like you hear people talking about ancestors. Ancestors are, human beings in spirit form, who are living in certain frequencies and dimensions or realms. They don't live in the same realm. You can have the familiar ancestors. Don't think they are just seated in the same realm. They are all in every one of them. They are in different realms, but they keep interacting with you, as a family. Remember, previously we have a presentation, on ancestor worship and the reason why people sacrifice or slaughter unto ancestors. So you can't understand this specific or this particular presentation if you haven't gone back. So I encourage you to go back to Zawadi Fire Trade YouTube channel. Go back and just listen and watch the presentations of what we have spoken about before in terms of, ancestor worship. Then you will be able to understand this topic that we're talking about today, because it's related, it's a continuity of that. So today we're just talking about how spirits, specifically demons, interact with human beings, how they recruit human beings, So if they are recruiting human beings, if it's real, it's true that they recruit human beings, it means there must be a reason. And if there is a reason and it's true that they are recruiting, then we talk of, then how are they recruiting? So how are human beings then reacting to that act? The systematic way of being recruited. So this is what we're talking about today, and we will really love you to engage with us. Send us your comments and your views. WhatsApp us. Send us your WhatsApp text or WhatsApp voice note to comment. To interact with us, to engage in our topic today. So because we are building a community, so everyone has to lend a hand, So this is how we achieve collective interest, in a community. So yeah, you are connected to the spirit dimension, the spirit world, one way or the other. You are in line, in tune with specific entities from specific dimensions and realms at one moment or the other moment in time in life, So at some point you find that people are not aware that they are in tune with demonic entities from demonic realms. Others you find that they are aware that they are in tune and they are doing it intently, so we have to dig deep into this topic so that everyone will be clear and they'll know what decision to take in terms of their daily life choices, and how also they protect themselves from manipulation, hijacking, and exploitation also, So because when we are talking of realms, what comes to mind now is, there is a need for the interactive mechanism, between this physical realm where we experience it through our five senses with our physical bodies and the unseen world, So if you believe that you have ancestors, it means they are somewhere in the spirit world, they are interacting with you, So there are things that they need out of you. There are things that they require out of you, So it depends on the specific ancestor. It can be a good ancestor, it can be a demonic ancestor, but it's still your ancestor. Depends on how you relate or react, to such, you can be talking about entities, extraterrestrial entities, there are ones that are benevolent, they want to work together with humanity, to assist humanity towards their good goal, towards their consciousness expansion, towards their sense of order and harmony within our dimension. They are the other opposite ones who are malevolent, those are the ones that we call demons. They have certain interest and they have certain mechanism on how they infiltrate our dimension, our realms, our daily lives, and control us one way or the other, so that their intents are fulfilled, So yeah, it is true that there are spirits out there, good spirits and bad spirits. It is true that there are demons, out there, who manifest in different forms, in different ways, which is they are the agents of demons, they manifest the intent, the will of, the demonic entities, Remember in our previous episode, we indicated and emphasized the idea that these things don't have bodies, so they live by absorbing energy, energy in terms of emotion. Your negative emotions feed these demonic entities. Your emotions and negative emotions are the fuel. It is not just emotion, they also feed on your sexual energy. So they harness your sexual energy. That is fuel. Not just sexual energy and your emotional energies also, but also your life force when you are being sacrificed. They also absorb your life force to refuel themselves. Those things don't have compassion. They don't have empathy. They don't have all these things called love, respect, emotional intelligence. They don't have that. They are just what they are, empty as they are. So they only live to survive on their own, So everything must be about themselves. So for them to survive, they need to have mechanisms of making sure that there is mass production for their food. Their food is negative emotions. Their food is the life force. So they swallow the souls, of other creatures, be it animals, birds, and human beings also. They absorb the life force, or just absorbing the souls, the life and energy, of any living creature, also human beings, to remain alive. So that's their character. So just imagine how, dangerous they can be. So for them to keep on expanding their power and making sure that, I think they have banks where they are banking these energies, mass production. They have the bank of energy, they're always harnessing energy and banking energy, you check. And it looks like they are never satisfied. So whenever they want something, they'll go for it, all the way, So some people make pacts with these demonic entities for their own selfish gains. Others, are hijacked also. They are manipulated, unsuspectingly. the subliminally, they are manipulated into getting into this thing. Others get into this thing, they just find themselves within this thing, not understanding what agwan. You check. So it is really important for you to check your space each and every time. Check your crowd, the people you hang with, check the information that you focus on, the information that you internalize and actualize, check also the energies, that you expose yourself to. Check the spaces also that you expose yourself to, because a lot is happening out there. You couldn't just put it, they say like they can assume any holographic image of anyone or anything, and do stuff, So yeah, this is how things are happening, So they have a way of making sure that they remain in power. They hijacked this planet long ago. We were once free beings, minding our business. The earth was just a home where we just move freely from here to there. We always migrating, whenever there is no sense of security, food supply, water, or grazing land, we just migrate to another space. Nobody ever owned the planet. The planet was only owned by the creators, cut and clear, until came the point where we started, being exposed to or, interacting with certain other beings from somewhere. Those are the ones that hijacked the planet long way back then. They introduced new system forcibly. It is said that our ancient people were, they were struck by lightning whips, of being forced, to bow to this new world order, to this new system, the will of this, it is of malevolent character. That was the incubation stage where they were introducing this thing. It is said also that they used to live with us here, commanding us. We used to see them. We used to bow to them. You check. That is why you look at sculptures. There are these sculptures of these things, and they are always looking at how ugly these things are. You saw the statues that were carved long way back then. Ugly things. Deformed things. You see, so this is another one, like the breasts are disproportionate. You see how ugly these things are. Some of them don't even have like the mouth. You see, if you check, so ugly. We are so beautiful people. Just look at yourself and acknowledge and appreciate the natural beauty that you were created with, the natural beauty that you were blessed with. As if you are a human being, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever skin color, you are beautiful. These things are ugly. You check. So we based on the sculpture that were carved, to when like the ancient people tried to preserve the knowledge. We used to preserve knowledge through art. So we will draw or we will do sculpting, through wood or stones. You check. So yeah, they were here introducing the new world order, whereby now the royal system, the system of kings, queens, the royal family is so called the royal blood, a sacred blood, the blood that has some certain anointing. I wonder who anointed that, So now people were forced to now bow to these families that were chosen to be the royalties. People are now forced to stay in one place. You are no longer just going to just migrate like this. You have to stay in one place. We are now a kingdom. We are now an empire. Now new things were now introduced. As a kingdom, you must, the human beings, everyone, was just property of the state, property of the royalty, property, of the royal family. Your life your life purpose was forfeited. You live only to serve these people. So they take young boys, they send them to the military barracks, train them how to kill. When you're training somebody to kill, you are training somebody to have hate. You are training somebody to have this demonic spirit. And you know what happened in those military barracks? There are certain rituals that were done so that these people will transform from being human beings. That is, when you're talking human being, not just talking people, we talk human being like Abantu. being the examples or replicas or the manifestations of Ntu, you will transform from being that and become something demonic, then you'll be commanded to go and attack your neighbors or another royal family or another tribe or empire. When you get there, you destroy, you spill blood, there's bloodshed there, you kill people, you do even human trafficking. Human trafficking didn't begin with the East Indian Ocean slave trade when the Arabs and the Portuguese were trading us. It didn't begin with the Atlantic slave trade there when the Europeans, we were raiding us and trading us as slaves. It began long way back. It was here. When one tribe go to attack the other tribes, they will do human trafficking. Young boys, young girls will be taken, driven to this conquering tribe to build this tribe. So these girls will be the concubines, for the warriors or for the kings. They are just here to be married so that this tribe will grow in population and power. Population was power then. You see, these young boys then, they are sent to the military barracks. They are indoctrinated, they are brainwashed, they change their identity, they adopt the identity of the slave captors. You check, this is what was happening. It's a new system. People became more demonic, but not just everyone is demonic. But the demonism, if you really observe and study it, it was, limited to the royalties, royal families, because the law was that you don't steal. If you steal, you are stoned, by who? The royal family, because they are the court, they are the law. You check. So if you fornicate, if you prostitute, if you bear false witness, if you are a witch, you are stoned to death. By law commanded by who? The royal families. It can be the chief, it can be king, it can be the emperor. But it is the same royal family people, the kings, who will send people to go there and rape, steal, murder, do all this filth and cruelty and barbarism. You check. So these were the times of the incubation of this system of demonism. Demons were already in contact with us. They introduced this new system of life, whereby we are stuck. Once we are stuck, there's a need to be control mechanisms so that there be order within the territories, be it the empires or the tribes. So there were new religious or spiritual things that were introduced, spiritual laws that were introduced, and who were the God? By and large, it was these, extraterrestrials, they were the gods. Even right now, you go back and study history, there is records of gods, who once lived amongst men. They were living in the mountains, in the rivers, everywhere. People would go there, to worship these gods, and there are times when maybe it's going to be a drought for a long time, then people will start suffering, and there will be a solution. People need to go to the mountains, to speak to the gods, and have a plead with the God, ask for forgiveness from the God. Then the God will no, we need young virgins, a sacrifice. This is what was happening in the ancient times. It's not spoken about popularly, but it was happening. They were not just slaughtering goats and animals, and there were times, in certain communities where these things will demand children to be slaughtered unto them. So if you really want to see and observe this thing, from an institutionalized form, look at what the Illuminati are doing. If you have ever checked what they do in the Bohemian Grove, and many other rituals that they do, there are rituals whereby they kill kids, they roast kids. You check. So I'm sure there is human blood drinking there. Those are all religious laws that were introduced by these barbaric entities, the demonic entities, when they came to infiltrate our dimension, for their own good. So there was no way they could, control us until they could infiltrate us and have agents amongst us. Agents will be put in positions of power. I once did this thing. It was in Kiswahili. It goes like mapepo wamejivisha miili ya watu ili mradi watu puze na kututanganya, unaona, na kutudhibiti, unaona. So the demons have adorned themselves human bodies so that they can fool us, deceive us, and also control us and own us also. You check. So this is what is happening there, to infiltrate us through the bloodlines. The specific bloodlines who become the agents